What's up guys, it's Matt Collins Jones here, also known as D365 Geek, and today we are talking about Power Automate and the CDS Current Environment Connector, and we're going to look at the Get a Record action. Now, if you've watched my previous video on Get Record in the old or the other CDS connector, you'll know that this allows you to go off and get a piece of information. Now, the reason why this is useful is that if you come from a CDS or a Dynamics background, you always get a piece of related data when you're running workflows. So if you want to, say, run a workflow on contact and look up the telephone number or the address for the parent account, you can get that information and put that in. That's just kind of there as standard. With Power Automate, you actually have to go off and query that information and retrieve it. Now, this can seem kind of cumbersome coming from that environment. However, it actually gives you a lot of power because it means that you can actually query anything in the system, no matter if it has a relationship or not, as long as you know an identifier to get that back with, and then you can use that later on. So let's take a look at it. So I'm in Power Automate here. I've got my flow, which is inside a solution, which gives me access to the CDS current environment connections, triggers, and actions. And we have a CDS current environment trigger, which is when a record is updated. This is running when I change the telephone one attribute inside the system. Next, we're going to add step, and we're going to click in the bar, and we're going to search common data service, and we're going to choose this one, which is the common data service current environment. Now, the third one down, we have get a record. So if we click on that, we're given two options by default, and there's a button for show advanced options. So we have entity name, so this is the name of the entity that you want to retrieve, and we also have item ID as well. So this is the ID that you want to put in here. We also have two other options. If we click on advanced options, we have select query and we have expand query. I'm going to cover both these in other videos. Select query allows you to just retrieve the attributes of the properties that you want. Expand query allows you to get related entries and data from there. But I'll cover these in an upcoming video. So in this instance, we're going to ask for what the record is. Now, I'm triggering this from account, so actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to get the account data because I don't think that's very handy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a contact piece of data. So if I click into here, wait for this to load and type contacts and choose contacts from the list here, and then I can put an item ID. So this is the GUID of the record that we want to retrieve. So unlike the lookups video where you have to actually specify what type of entity it is and put things in brackets, we're literally just looking for the GUID this time, and Power Automate is going to do the rest for you, so that's all good. Now the one I'm going to search for is going to be the primary contact. So if I typed prim into the dynamic content over here, and then I have a filtered list, and one of these is primary contact value. So we don't need the type, we just need the value. So the primary contact for the account provided, quick access to contact details, is what the description says. So if we click that into there, we can see it's going to there, and then we can test this flow out. So if I click test, I'll perform the trigger action to show you it working. We'll hit save and test. We'll wait for this to start, and then we'll flick over to my Dynamics environment, and I've got this account record all set up. So this is an account record for Wayne Enterprises, and it has a primary contact of Bruce Wayne. And we can see in the quick contact card here, we've got an email address and a telephone number. So if I update the telephone number here, so if I've got 2 on the end of that, what that will do is that will, once I hit ignore and save because the duplicates in the system, that will trigger the flow. So the flow is now running, and it's going to be triggered from this account record, and we're actually going to return back the contact details for Mr. Bruce Wayne. So if I go back to my Power Automate record, we can see it ran successfully, we can see it triggered. If I scroll in here, we can see that it triggered from the Wayne Enterprises. There we name Wayne Enterprises, that's the name of the account. And if I click on Get Record, I can see it's got a contact name, it's got the GUID for the contact as well, and then it's starting to bring through some details about the person. Bruce Wayne, we've got their email address that we just saw as well, we've got telephone number that we saw, and then we've got and the body of the text, the sort of JSON body that's returned from the CDS. I can also click on Show More, and it actually shows me all of the fields that we have in Power on the contact record in Power Automate. So we can see all this information, and we can use this information later on. And there we have it. So that allows you to get a record. Now, the reason I said at the start, the reason why you want to get record is maybe you want to use that information somewhere else. So it could be that you're running this on a quote, for instance, to go and get the contact data, or go get the address information. Maybe you're using this on an order or something later on. Or you want to fill that into the quote. Maybe run this on accounts to then go off and get as did in this, the primary contact, so that you can then use that information. Maybe you want to send them an email, create a task or a phone call to call them. This is something that I use all the time because we need to query information and get it back. It's one of the differences in switching from classic workflows to Power Automate, and the reason for this is just it gives you so much power, but at the same time it wants to save resources. So it's not going to go off and it's not going to store all the variables and all the parameters from multiple different records depending on wherever you're depending on where your relationships are. It's asking you to query that information if you need it, and that's what this allows you to do. It allows you to go off and retrieve a single record and use that information later on. So I hope this was useful. If you did find it useful, if you could like the video and share it with your friends, it would be greatly appreciated. If you've not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.